Life is full of challenges. We face battles in our relationships, our careers, and within ourselves. Ever wonder where these conflicts come from? James chapter 4 shines a light on this, telling us that often our battles stem from within, from our own desires and our own pride. When we're driven by self, by what we want, when we want it, we set ourselves up for conflict. It's like trying to squeeze through the eye of a needle with a camel. It just doesn't work. Our desires, when they don't line up with God's plan, lead us down a path of frustration and strife. Pride, too, is a stumbling block. It tells us we know better, that we deserve more. This attitude of self-importance creates distance between us and God and puts us at odds with others. Remember, friend, God gives grace to the humble. Let's choose humility over pride and watch our conflicts begin to fade. Submitting to God. It sounds simple, right? But in the midst of our struggles, it can feel like the hardest thing in the world. We like to be in control, to call the shots. But the truth is, our way often leads to dead ends and detours. Surrendering to God isn't about becoming weak or passive. It's about recognizing that there's a power far greater than ourselves, a wisdom that surpasses our own. It's about trusting that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand. Imagine a ship at sea. Trying to navigate through a storm without a rudder or a captain is a recipe for disaster. Surrendering to God is like handing over the wheel, trusting the captain of our souls to guide us safely to shore. Let go of the need to control everything. Embrace the peace and freedom that come with surrendering to a loving God. We often think of strength in terms of power, dominance, and control, but true strength, the kind that withstands the storms of life, is found in humility. It's in recognizing our need for God, in acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. Humility isn't about thinking less of ourselves, it's about thinking of ourselves less. It's about shifting our focus from our own desires and ambitions to serving others and honoring God. Think of a tree deeply rooted in the ground. It's able to withstand the strongest winds because its foundation is strong. In the same way, when we're rooted in humility, we become unshakable. Humility opens the door to God's grace and power. It allows us to become vessels of His love and instruments of His peace. Section 4, drawing closer through obedience. When we submit to God, when we choose His way over our own, something incredible happens. We draw closer to Him. It's like tuning a radio to the right frequency. Suddenly the static disappears and the music comes in clear. Obedience isn't about following a set of rules out of fear or obligation. It's about aligning our hearts with God's heart, about desiring what He desires. And as we do, we experience the fullness of His love, His joy, and His peace. Imagine a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, but they keep reaching for their parent's hand. In the same way, our journey with God might not always be easy, but each step of obedience, each act of surrender, brings us closer to His loving embrace. The closer we are to God, the more we understand His ways. We begin to see things from His perspective, and our hearts are filled with His wisdom and peace. Section 5, resisting the enemy. The enemy, the devil, wants nothing more than to see us defeated, divided, and discouraged. He knows that our strength lies in our connection with God, so he'll do everything in his power to sever that connection. But here's the good news. Greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John chapter 4, verse 4. We don't have to fight this battle alone. God has given us everything we need to stand firm against the enemy's schemes. How do we resist? By submitting to God, by drawing near to Him, by putting on the full armor of God, as described in Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 to 18. When we do this, the enemy has no choice but to flee. Remember, the devil is a defeated foe. He's already been overcome by the power of Jesus Christ. Stand firm in your faith and watch as God fights your battles for you. Section 6, a time for reflection. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Where are you experiencing conflict? What desires or prideful attitudes might be contributing to these struggles? Are you willing to surrender control to God, trusting that He knows what's best for you? Are you ready to embrace the unexpected strength of humility? Remember, friend, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way, ready to guide you, strengthen you, and draw you closer to His heart. Choose today to submit to Him, to resist the enemy, and to walk in the fullness of His love and power.